Greetings and welcome to Monster Legends for another special feeding episode. This time I'm going to be feeding a fella that I picked up on the February Legends Pass. This is Rekka. And Rekka is a legendary. Rekka is fire. Rekka is part of the good legions. He's very into family and takes time for adventuring. Unfortunately, he couldn't show up with anything more than one open ruin slot, which was very, very unfortunate. So let's find him a home, a temporary one, for now. Okay, I have no idea what was going on with that special skill. Looked kind of interesting. I did notice that it was fire colored and not legendary colored. Very interesting. Alright, so where's our little friend? I can't even see him there. Okay, this is somebody whom we're going to rename. Alright, so this is Rekka. He is a legendary. He is fire. He has an evolving trait. Let's take a look at this. He begins hardened, which means he has an added 20% chance to resist negative status effects. At rank 1, it becomes tough, which means it turns into a 35% chance to resist negative status effects. At rank 3, it goes all the way to 50% with Bowarth. He gains a status cast for a damage increase. Ooh, interesting. For himself, of course. Alright, that's kind of useful. Kind of useful indeed. Alright, so let's look at his starting stats. His strength is very good. His life is, these days, that's actually not so good. Pretty glass cannon-y, just saying. His speed is actually surprisingly good as well. I guess he's a damage dealer? I mean, the flaming nunchuck seems to point to that, right? Alright, let's look at his initial skills. Born for War. Deals low physical damage to one enemy. And Fire Essence. Deals moderate fire damage to one enemy. And that special skill, Hino Kami Kagera? I have no idea. Applies up to 3 random hater statuses to itself. Get an extra turn. Wow, that is actually the most useless I've seen in quite some time. After spending years embroiled in a bitter power struggle between General Dartmouth and Lucifer, Rekka decided to walk away and start a new life. The Fire War Master Barbriel recognized his gesture as an act of bravery and armed Rekka with an unstoppable weapon, the Fire Nunchaka. Now he's ready to find a battle worth fighting. Alright, so he walked away from war, was given a devastating power, and now he's going to find war again. Okay. Well, you know what? We need to get him up to his first evolution. His final evolution, otherwise. So, open wide. Here come the tomatoes. There he is. Alright, so I guess it kind of grew with him. I don't know what the banner on his back is all about, but he looks hot. Alright, so let's begin with the skills. They start at level 7. Hygan applies burn to all enemies. Okie dokie. Alright, let's continue to level 10. Hyken applies ignite to one enemy. Alright, well, he's doing that fire thing here. So let's continue. Level 15. Kagero deals low special damage to one enemy, gives one extra turn to itself. Alright, apparently he's got a bunch of these, possibly maybe as much as Voltic. Anyway, that's a good one. We're going to put that at the end there, mostly because it has a 0 cooldown, so that means that even if you activate his cooldowns, he would be able to get back into his extra turning. Alright, so let's continue to level 20. Katon applies double damage and evasion to itself. Oh, that's interesting. Interesting. All right, we'll put that there for now. I don't know if I'm going to keep that one. It's hard to say. All right, let's just continue, though. All right, so let's see. What's at level 25? Deals very heavy fire damage to one enemy. Applies ignite to one enemy. All right, well, that does damage. We'll put that on the front there. Don't know if I'm keeping it. We'll have to see. Alright, so let's continue to level 30. Another skill. Deals moderate fire damage to all enemies. Applies burn to all enemies. Yes, I'm just going to be doing that from now. Yeah, I'll just put that. Again, I don't know if I'm going to keep that. We'll have to see what happens when in the end. We're going to build a spec for him there, right? All right, so let's continue to level 35. Applies a random hater status to itself, gives one extra turn to itself. Okay, that's garbage. All right, so let's continue to level 40. Should be 2 more skills, unless we get duplicates. Deals moderate fire damage to one enemy, applies ignite to one enemy, gives one extra turn to itself. All right, 3-round cooldown. Obviously, we're keeping that one. I'm going to put that one there because it kind of does the same thing, right? All right, so let's continue to level 45 and final skill. I just got rid of that one a moment ago. All right, so let's continue. We're going to be going in to look at the skills anyway. Yeah, because we keep getting crappy ones like that. All right, so let's see, level 55. And it's a good skill, but I just don't think it's going to work for him. All right, so let's continue to level 60, and I have a feeling we're going to be going in anyway, right? Yeah, we're going in. All right, so let's just check out the skills here. All right, that one, yeah, I don't like that one. Okay, this is one I didn't get. Deals low fire damage to one enemy and then to all enemies, gives an extra turn. All right, so let's think about this one. I think that one might go in for this. For any other type of character, this would be a useful skill. I don't think it's useful for this type of individual. So, it's tricky. It really is. See, the thing about it is, if you're talking about a Voltec or even a Zyla, when they end, they usually have an extra turn and they're out of stamina, which means that they can't really do a skill. They have to charge, so that way the next time they attack, they have their stamina back. So is this skill really going to be useful to them? I don't know. Maybe just keep it, or maybe just keep a big bang just in case. Like, for instance, maybe this one, although this one, you know, it's burning everybody, but I don't think it would be something that would really be worth it. I mean, this one does a lot of good damage to a single individual. It is fire damage again. All right, hold on a second. We have special damage with this one, right? This is a buff. This is fire damage, and this is fire damage. Do we have any other special damage? No, I don't see anything. You know, for emergencies, I probably might just hold on to that. Because even if I pick something that does big damage... Oh, but you know what? What if he needs to use something? Yeah, you know what? I think I'm probably going to hold on to this. Because if the AI is actually doing it and there's somebody with anticipation on the other side, it'll probably do this. So I'm going to hold on to this. All right, so but I think that we got everything then. Everything that I wanted, right? No, I want this. All right, so I'm going to substitute this for this. Okay, so I have 3 extra turning ones, right? It's going to be a little bit messy. All right, let's say if you started using this one, right? You hit one guy really hard. Then you came back with this one. One individual is going to get hit twice, right? The initial attack and then the group attack, both of them low damage. But it does do an extra turn again. So then you would come down here and do this. But you probably have to do that a second time if you want to get back to this. And by that time, you'll be able to do this. You'll have both of them available to you at that point. So I think that's kind of what I'm planning on going with. I'm thinking of this as an emergency situation. If there's something that he can't do, then maybe just do double damage and evade. That way, when he does attack with something that has an extra turn, probably this one, it'll hit a lot more. Although I am questioning the gauge on this one, because it says moderate fire damage when the gauge is actually clearly showing heavy. So I don't know if they messed up the gauges. They kind of got them right there for a while, so I don't know if there's an actual problem there. All right, so let's look at his stats at 60. Yeah, like I said, his strength is really good. His speed is actually really good too. Especially for a damage dealer. I don't really know why he needs that kind of speed, but then again, he has that kind of speed. I guess it means he gets to attack more often. That's fine. But I certainly wouldn't put any of that on him because I think I'm kind of going to look at him as a Vault-Tec in terms of wanting to have damage and then wanting to have stamina on him so he can attack more often. He doesn't have the benefit, I believe, that Zyla has with the banner. He's got the mask over here and the essence. So I don't think there are any of them that actually give stamina back, but I could be wrong about that. So let's look at the skills that I selected, and I am going to want to do testing with this fellow, so I might change my mind in terms of one of the skills. 3 of them are in stone. One of them, there are some options there, right? All right, so let's begin with this one. Deals moderate fire damage to one enemy, applies ignite to one enemy, gives 1 extra turn to itself. All right, so you're going to hit somebody really hard with fire damage, and you're going to give them ignite, which is a torture effect. Does pretty good damage, only lasts for 2 turns, but it does good damage, and then give himself an extra turn so he can use another attack. Now, it's important to remember, if there's somebody on the other side of the battlefield that has anticipation, they're going to be acting before he can do his next attack. So it's important with a monster like this that does a lot of extra turning to know who's on the other side. Very important. All right, and then we have this one. Deals low fire damage to one enemy and then to all enemies. Gives extra turn to itself. So you're going to target one individual. You're going to hit them with low fire damage, even though the gauge is showing low moderate. And then you're going to do that damage to everybody, including the original guy. He's going to get 2 shots of it. So that can be very useful, especially if he does have a good strength, which he does, and you're going to put damage on him, which you're very likely going to do. And then we have this one. Now, this is the one that I'm a little bit fuzzy on, but I think I'm probably going to stick with this one. Because this one, double damage and evasion. I think the evasion is probably the best part of this. Although coming back the next time with double damage can be very good, especially with that first attack that does so much damage. He does need to do something that is not going to be an extra turn, just in case there is a anticipation on the other side. If there is, the AI is usually smart enough to use something that does not give him an extra turn. So he can use this one and he will be protected for that time period. And the double damage isn't such a bad thing too, since he can just come back with this and do a lot of damage on his first attack. Although if the anticipation individual is still there, yeah, then he's going to have a problem with that. And then we have this one at the end. Deals low special damage to one enemy, gives 1 extra turn to itself. Now, once again, this is showing low moderate, so I don't know, the gauges of this guy are just messed up. So I can understand this one being low because 1, it's going to give an extra turn, and 2, it has a 0 cooldown, which means you could just use this same one over and over and over and over again if it did any kind of significant damage, which it doesn't. The purpose of this one, however, is to get back to your other skills, right? So let's say that he uses this one to begin with, right? This one right here, but it's got a 3-round cooldown, which means he has to wait 4 turns before he can use it again. Then he comes over to this one, uses this one, does damage to everyone, but this is a 2-round cooldown, which means he has to wait 3 turns before he can use it again. So you could just do this one over and over and over until you get these guys back again. Another consequence of this one here, or I should say a good thing, is if he gets his cooldowns activated, he can use this one to do his extra turns and get back to the point where he can use these, or even just this one. So, I mean, a skill like this is critical for a character like this. Vault-Tec has one, Zyla has one. It's the one where activating your cooldowns is not going to stop you. Very useful one indeed. It would have been better if he had a banner, but, you know, that's just ridiculously overpowered, which is the reason Zyla is ridiculously overpowered. Now, in terms of runes for this fellow, I'm trying to decide whether or not I want to put 1 damage or 2 damages on him. The rest of what I would put on him would be stamina. Now, with a character like this, you want him to be able to attack a lot. So he's going to need a big pool of stamina. But do you want him to do more damage with his attacks? See, there's a balancing act. If you put 2 damages on him and 1's big stamina, it means his individual hits are going to be harder. But if you put like 1 damage and 2 stamina on him, it means he's going to be able to attack more often. So it's kind of a balancing act regard to that. The fact that he's got a buff that does double damage means you might want to lend towards the 2 damages. I'm thinking that's what I might do for him. 2 damages and a big old stamina. Biggest stamina I can actually find. That's what I'm thinking in terms of him. I can't wait to start playing with him to see how he's going to work out mechanically. And unfortunately, that's not going to be the next testing video. It will be the one after, though, because he is somebody you do want to test with. Anyway, I think that's going to be it for now. So this is Rekka. He is very good. Can't wait to start testing with him. Anyway, thank you very much for your attention. I really appreciate it. And play games because games are fun. See you.